Hello, Americans and other friends and subscribers around the world. So we're actually taking our morning walk this morning. We tried to miss kitties all bundled up like a little Eskimo. The temps, I did a video a couple days ago. This morning wasn't as bad. I think it was 9 or something this morning.
I actually didn't check it, so I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it's cold.
So it's cold. Snowing. This is just the beginning of it. Supposed to have a couple of pretty big snowstorms come through in the next few days or a couple weeks. Winter's back, man. We should getting that warm spell that we had was something else,
man.
It
was really nice while it lasted.
It was great. But walk along and talking and thought maybe we ought to do a video on the pros and cons of farming or homesteading, food for, whatever you want to call it, in the Pacific Northwest. We want to touch on the people and their homesteading quarrels these days on this thing. It's just ridiculous.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. I just don't even watch it. I don't want no part of it. But anyway, we call ours the homestead, and but we also call the snow shelter over our vagabond the cabin too, and some people don't like that either. Yeah. So you can't please everybody.
Nope. It's all good. So the Pacific Northwest is technically considered to be Washington, Oregon, Idaho, parts of Montana, and parts of Wyoming.
Yeah. But the main three Pacific Northwest is Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. And like she said, and then it's more the Northwest because, and I've said this before, when they actually designed, or whatever you want to call it, the United States, everything was going to be square, rectangle, and stuff. Other than obviously
all the politics
along the coastal, but yeah. But they were shooting for. We've watched and read a bunch of stuff on it. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, but when they did Idaho, because Idaho was actually the territory, which included part of Oregon and Washington and Montana, and Wyoming. But anyway, when they went to create Montana didn't have enough population. Whatever their count was, to be a state, and so they ended up taking that chunk out of Idaho, which made our awesome shape. Awesome shapes. I'm glad they did that. Yeah. But so basically the forested, the biggest forested part of Montana stuff was actually originally Idaho. Just a little history there.
A little trivia.
But so we want to do the pros and cons of building a homestead or growing stuff and all that. And I would have to say one would be one of the cons would be the 4 seasons, but I would have to also say one of the pros is the 4 seasons, because a lot of places don't
experience this extreme fluctuation.
We watch we love down south, Deep South Homestead, and man, they're growing stuff. I've talked about it the last few. They've got stuff growing, and we're just now starting to get
our seeds together.
Yeah, going through what seeds we have from last year and what seeds we want to order. And man, they're already growing stuff and talking about harvest
in the ground.
In the ground.
Yeah.
Which they're getting above average, warmer temps and stuff right now too.
Yeah.
But we had that too. Oh, here comes the cat. It's the kitten. What you doing out here? You get ate by a fox.
Yeah. But while they're growing, we're
planting.
And this season of ours right now is one of the pros to being in the Pacific Northwest is that the hard winters will kill off bugs.
Right, yeah, exactly. Definitely the bugs, the fleas, the ticks, all that, which it helps, they have morels and all that down south, everywhere, mushrooms and all that, but for, our kind of stuff too, it helps the, our huckleberries and You know.
Yeah.
Didn't he said something, he had a wild huckleberry?
Yeah,
Yeah,
different variety than
yeah,
what
I didn't
we
even
have
know
up
that
here.
they had huckleberries down south. You know, blueberries, but I didn't know they had huckleberries. We have, I mean, mountains and mountains of, literally, of huckleberries. So you got that little tablet?
I do.
We actually wrote a few things down so we wouldn't.
I think I got a sticker on my head.
Wouldn't think of how'd you do that?
I don't know.
Head first?
I don't know. I must have.
I just push it down.
Yeah.
I
don't know how I did that. I know, that's because I'm looking down. Oh, it's coming out the bottom.
Actually we went over and before we took our walk, rode over. What are you giving it to me for?
Because I can't see through my fog glasses.
Okay, so so I'm just gonna run down some of the pros and we'll just and then we'll talk about it. So pros. Amazing spring and fall, 4 seasons. We just kind of touched base on that. Yeah, and our seasons. My favorite time of year, my very favorite is spring. Renewal. I love the springtime above all else. What?
I don't know. Harvest is pretty good
too.
too.
Harvest is too. Fall's good. I'm talking about my own preference. You're not gonna. You can't decide what I think. Mine is spring. Okay. Man, you got the spring steelhead, salmon run. You've got the spring everything, and here comes red.
Spring mushroom flush.
Yep, so I'm going to stop for a minute. Oh, maybe it wasn't. That was actually somebody else going on. His truck ran so loud coming up through here. But, yeah, and that's another. Oh, there's another pro about I guess that would be pro about the springtime is all the leaves fill in and you can't hear that. Because the main road or highway or whatever, it's quite a jaunt down there. But when all the trees are bare, man, oh yeah, man, there's some. And when they first drop their leaves, man, it wakes us up in the middle of the night and stuff. Because you hear somebody, when the trucks go by with their Jake brake or something on. But so what was I saying before I thought the red was coming? Oh, the spring and the fall is. I do love the fall too. That's my 2 favorite seasons. But mine is spring because that's morel mushroom hunting. Yeah, so you can't say that not everything that you get to pick and fruit and all that stuff. Look at them hawthorns.
I know. I was looking at them.
Gnarly mothers. All right, so let's run down this, man. We're kind of taking this forever. You already said it kills the bugs. Wild foraging, in the Pacific Northwest, and I don't know how much, I know everybody's got, wild foraging, no matter where, where you are on, pretty much on the planet. But our areas, we have so much more public land, Forest Service and BLM land than,
more opportunities to go forage for
right, without having to get permission to go on private properties and stuff like that. So that's definitely an advantage in the Pacific Northwest. Big time. Oh yeah, a pro, which there's always a con to a pro, but we have no hurricanes.
Yeah. Or
tornadoes.
Yeah. Tornadoes.
Well, they've had some of them little ones down there in southern Idaho.
Microburst is really.
Well, yeah, but them ones, man. There's. Nothing like they have down there. No, nothing like that down there.
Those people would say, that's no tornado.
But the thing that we do have is our forest fires.
And we do live pretty close to the supervolcano of the world.
Well, did you have to throw that in there? Yeah, but the way that they say, we'll get into that, the way they say it, we're actually safer because it's got to go around.
All the way around the planet before it gets to us.
That's what they say anyway.
That's what they say.
And then a pro, you said no drought. And, we don't, especially up in the hills up here, Idaho and the Pacific Northwest definitely have drought years, when we don't have our snowpack. But as far as, us living at the base of the mountain and, all the wooded areas and stuff, because southern Idaho's had some pretty good ones. But you got the snake running through there for irrigation and stuff. But we don't have a serious drought, especially like California and stuff like that, man, right now. They got some serious drought. Pro is obviously the hunting. Our hunting and our fishing and all that, you can do that all over the country.
That ties back to the public land also.
Yeah, and it ties back to the public land, but we can just head on out, don't have to get, there's that battery, have to get, like I said, ask permission and all that stuff because we have mountains and lots of public land to go tromp through without asking. All right, and of course, had to, why don't you go over that?
Well, I'm not fogging right now, so I guess I can.
And of course, we had to change the battery again. So.
Okay, so you already talked about hunting?
Yep.
Okay, we got a dry heat.
Yes.
When we do get hot, it's dry, which is a big difference between the humidity down in the south.
Right, now we got a plane. see, you can be out in the middle of nowhere, man, and there's still human
interference.
Dang.
You want to touch on that one?
What? On the dry heat? You want me to hold this? You're just holding it up. So the dry heat, down south, the extreme hot, and then the humidity, down Louisiana and stuff like that, man. You take a shower, and get all clean and walk outside, man, and feel just like you took a shower again, And up here, our heat, man, it's a dry. We don't have that kind of heat up here, but it does get, when we get those. I don't like that as much as I don't like the deep freeze. I don't like the extreme hot, but where we're at is when it does get hot, and it'll still be hot up there too, but man, we can go up, and play in the mountain stream and the rivers and stuff. We can be up, up higher and get out of some of that heat within 10 minutes, so that's for us, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. So that was actually the last one we had on the pros. Listed down, so the cons.
Well, yeah, and I could sit here and pro, man. We're born and raised. We're Idahoans, it's in our blood,
Yeah.
So let's go over the cons.
The cons.
So,
first one is snow.
It's snow, man. We're not big fans of snow.
No.
We've grown up in it, been in it all our lives. We know how to drive in it. I've snowmobiled. Never been much into skiing. I have, my family. I've got family. They're big into the skiing and the snowboarding and snowmobiling and all that. We are going to get a couple of snowmobiles, down the road and stuff, more for just getting around
for
and
usage and to recreate.
Yeah, because on like last year and stuff, man, in the town up the road there, everybody's riding their snowmobiles into the grocery store and stuff like that. When you live out like this, it's basically a snowmobile almost a necessity,
right.
Just to get around for transportation.
Yes.
So
sub-zero temperatures.
That I absolutely. And I don't use hate a lot, but I hate the sub-zero like we had yesterday, man. It ended up, I think it was 6 below or something. McCall, it was 18 below up in McCall. We've lived through all that, man. It's that
harsh.
Bone chilling.
It's
flat just don't like it.
But that's what kills the bugs.
Yeah, that's what kills exactly right. So
it's
got its pros too.
And everything. We have a much, much shorter growing season than what people in
down south or warmer climates. Our growing season, like I said, man, we're just now starting to think about ordering seeds, and down south, they're growing and and all that. So our season's definitely a lot shorter, and last year we didn't lose as many. We're hoping to do a lot more gardening, video or more videos on our gardening and all that, and getting our food forest thing going this year. But the year before, we hardly ended up with any tomatoes because the weather was so weird and the season was so short. Our plants were loaded.
Yeah.
We ended up taking a lot. Actually, I think because we did a video on it, we had a bunch of green ones in there too. We did end up with a lot of green ones this year.
Yeah, pull the green off because the temperatures were dropping and we didn't want to lose them. Didn't have time to ripen. And
we've actually adjusted, because we've always grown gardens, and we've actually adjusted our, moving up higher. From down on the, outside the big city down there when we were living on the properties and stuff down there. And the growing season's even longer there than it is here. So definitely a lot of adjusting. She's quite nice. She's so awesome. This cat is so awesome.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, and there's a lot of things that we can do to help our growing season. One of them is a greenhouse, which is in our plans. It's just obviously something that we have to just do.
Yeah, and that's and actually hopefully I'm gonna do that this year. Probably what I'm going to do is
have it up and ready.
I'm actually probably going to take probably 3 of my hog panels down, because I had it around a garden area, an experimental place that was just too dang wet down here. But I'm gonna pull the hog panels because that was to keep the goats out and deer. and actually take those hog panels, and I think they're either 16 or 18 footers, and I'm going to bend them and then put some plastic over it and make us a little place. I'm actually probably going to do that here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I'll probably do a video and show that.
Oh, that's good.
Just for a temporary.
Yeah.
It's not one you know walk in, obviously, but we can actually get some stuff going in there.
No, but we can get some things sprouted inside the cabin and then transfer them out to the...
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I told you that the other day, and you said, well, I can't walk in that. That's what you said. I said it didn't mean it was going to be our permanent one, but I was like, okay then.
Okay then.
I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay, and during the extreme temperatures, whether it's over 100 degrees or below 0, it's very difficult to get work done outside.
Yeah, especially building projects. I mean, you always, I framed houses and drove, truck and drove tow truck, and all that. So, I mean, we all, all of us, you guys, us, everybody, we all work in the elements. But as far as the projects, when I had you put that down, it's more the, we got kind of putting together plans right now. So I think we're going to actually build us a tiny home cabin, if everything plays out and everything. That's just going to be just a little 200 square foot cabin with a little loft. Put our bed in the loft and our recliners and TV down below, and that's it.
That's it.
Just a little,
a small space.
Yeah, basically, because where we're our bed and stuff in the Vagabond right now is we work all the time because our computer and our eBay and YouTube and other things, or other little business things we got going on is always right there. So we work all the time, until we'll go into the recliner. But then as soon as you hear anything on the computer or anything, you're back out there checking it. So we want to be able to go home after a day's work. So that's kind of what the little thing. Yeah. So I'll show that all being, done and all that stuff too later on. We'll talk about that. What else you got, Miss Kitty?
One of the cons is in addition to the gardening and the homesteading type projects that you got, you also have different things like firewood that you have to work that into your spring and summertime schedule.
Yeah, I mean, and it's huge, especially when and I touched base in it one of the last videos. That is our only source of heat. And not only do we heat the cabin or the shack or whatever you want to call it with it, our only the only source of heat that we have is wood. And not only in there, but in the cook shack, which we got to get the kitchen part of it done, but that's where our shower is and all that, and that's what we heat within there. So I mean, all that, also counting that I have to get stuff for my forge, so I have to get the char, so that's getting more wood there too. So man, we spend a lot of time, and you've seen the videos, man, a lot of time getting wood, which we enjoy. Yeah. So that's we love it because you're up in the hills getting it. So, so
and there are options of purchasing your firewood.
Yeah, we're actually Cara did it. Bulk, yeah, she actually bought a bunch of lengths, and we're kind of kicking around the idea. It'd be kind of nice to get a
semi-load.
Yeah, semi-load just to have out here just in case. Kind of like the wood that I showed a couple of videos ago. My lodge pole, building lodge poles. But man, you can actually get a semi-load of them brought in, and it ends up around $100 a cord. But I mean, that's still. You weigh your thing, man. When you live here, really, do I have to buy wood? Right. So I don't know if we'll see.
Yeah, this is an option. Winter travel is pretty difficult, road conditions.
Which affects us big time. Because yesterday we wanted to go down, today we wanted to go down, and it's not snowing horribly bad out here, but it's supposed to be coming. And like I've said before, everything from here is uphill. So man, we've got to go up, and I mean they're not huge passes, but they're pretty good passes, man. We really don't want to be sliding on down the thing. So conditions to get out, and that's how we make our living, so you just kind of prepare, and that's where the thank God for the knives and other things that we do and make money around here, because when you end up getting snowed, and we have been snowed in and lost power, was it 2 years ago? It was out there. Actually didn't know if it was going to be back on for a week or so. Which you guys all lose power, and stuff down, south and all that, hurricanes, all that. But when that's your only source of heat, man. Basically it's like prepping, man. You've got to have wood. We have oil lamps, and we have candles, and we have our firewood, and always have a a supply of wood. Miss Kitty is the queen of taking whatever food and making something out of nothing. It's like, man, we've got
pantry cook pretty good.
Yeah, she can put together, whoop up something pretty good, pretty fast.
Yeah.
What you got there?
So that's something we always advise people when they, so, you know, how is it living up there? Do not use electric heat because the power will go out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's just inevitable up here.
And it's so expensive.
Oh, that's kind of part of it too. Backup resources. Even if with solar up here in the wintertime, you still have to have backup resources because there's the clouds, and we go days and days and days of cloud coverage.
Right, you have to get out there and sweep off your panels, which we are going to go, man. Our goal is still to
get the solar going.
Yeah, to go solar, you know. Then once the knives came into play, you know, if you followed these videos and stuff, because I mean, our thing when we left down there was 100% off the grid, and then when we found this property and there was already power and stuff on it, kind of changed our thing, which, I mean, Lord works in mysterious ways because the power was on here, and after we bought it, you know, within months, we were making knives, you know, and that was how we, you know, so I mean, that's, you know, as far as everything happens for a reason, and we're true believers in that, and that's why we have power. So we'll never probably, at least on this property, never be 100%. We actually
use the solar and use the electricity for backup.
Yes. And I mean, someday we still are going to have our completely off the grid little cabin up in the pine trees, you know, that's once this place is paid for.
We touched on forest fires and the wild animals. Now that can be a pro.
Yep. And you see, you know, you can see something that I'll tell you the whole experience with the mountain lion on here, and the bear thing, and I've never, you know, all my life have ran into bears. Man, I mean, I can't even give you the count. They've never worried or concerned me ever, other than, you know, the whole thing with the goat deal, and then sneaking down there at 3 in the morning, and, you know, didn't come nose to nose, but close. But that night that I came out, or that morning that I came out, and that bear, you know, was from me to that tree right there in the bushes, you know, runting at me. Opened my eyes, man. And then cleaning that bear, you know, I mean, until you've actually
put your hands on.
because I mean, that was the first. I've never had no desire to kill a bear ever. You know, man. I mean, I'd had friends that did it, you know, and they, you know, I'd ate jerky and some bear meat and stuff like that, but I'd never had no desire ever to harm a bear. Just, you know, same with shooting dogs and wolves and stuff. I just, you know, everybody there, I'm not against it. That's their thing, you know, but I have no desire. But when we cleaned that bear, I'm going to get it out here, and this old buck knife would not even go, you know, because, man, most of the time I would think, well, you know, if it came to it, you know, I'd, you know, fight. Yeah, I'd fight, you know, fight him if I didn't have a gun on me. I'd fight him, which, you know, I always have a gun, but it could be in the truck. And when we cleaned that bear, and the arms on that thing were bigger than my legs, you know, and I mean, I was just like, wow, man. And this knife wouldn't even, I mean, there was this much more fat. Man, if you were stabbing you know, if you were defending yourself and was stabbing a bear, this knife would be like poking it with one of these hawthorns. Yeah. You know, so that's when I went back, because I'd carried out hunting, but that's when I went back and started carrying this one's going to go through. You know, that's just in case I didn't have a Caroline or something on my side. And before the bear thing, I would, you know, pack my, you know, if we were out here doing something, because we have a lot of coyotes and you know, the foxes and stuff like that, but never really had that much problem here. You know, when you'd hear around town or around the county that, you know, we're having cougar problems, because we have a lot of cougar problems up here too, or wolf, then I'd have the shotgun or the, you know, one of the guns in the pickup if we were out here working, or on the four-wheeler. But after that, I won't come on this end of our property probably ever again without a gun, because, man, it was an eye-opening. Let me tell you, man, I was born and raised in these mountains, man, and that was one eye-opening experience. And the experience with that mountain lion. You know, the red's seen it, but I didn't never seen it. But those cougar tracks were in my tracks, man. I'd walked right by that thing that morning, and
within minutes.
Yeah, within minutes, and then red's seen it just a few. I mean, it was crazy. So I mean, it just opened my eyes, and better be safe than sorry. It's always I've always said, man, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. You know, so there you go on that. And what else we got, Miss Kitty?
So the wild animals also brings in not just predators, but meat.
Yeah, that's, you know, for hunting and stuff like that. You know, I've deer hunted and stuff my whole life and all that, and Tim and, you know, the kids are all big into it. Car's big into it and all that. I go up and down, you know, whether I'm gonna go, you know, big game hunting. I'm a bird hunter, man. I'm a bird hunting fisherman. You know, that's my things, you know, so that's what I just prefer to do. But I do love, man, elk meat and you know, and deer and all. I love venison and stuff. I'm just not, you know, my favorite's the bird hunting and the fishing.
That was it?
Well, that's it.
That's it.
So I guess there's a little bit of pros and cons. I don't know if it really touched what we wanted to. It may have.
Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah, but we just thought we'd throw that little bit out there because really we're just jealous of Deep South Homestead down there, and they did a video right before we came out there. Oh, it's gonna be 70 today here, Hillbilly. I'm like, oh dude, it's 8 degrees and snowing here. So anyway, that's what we got, and good Lord willing and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again tomorrow.